What's up, Chris VA Travels. I'm here in Spotsylvania, and I stopped off to take a look at the LORIELLA house. Farmhouse built back in 1858. It was built by Cosmo Gordon, and I've mentioned the Gordons before. His grandfather was Samuel Gordon. He owned Kenmore Plantation, big plantation in downtown Fredericksburg. And as a matter of fact, his grandfather named Kenmore after their ancestral home over in Scotland. He also owned a place in Falmouth, if you want to take a look at it. I did a walk around of Falmouth a while back. And yeah, pretty simple building. It wasn't built to be fancy. Like I say, just kind of a simple farmhouse, just 3-bay building. I'm seeing an external and a smaller internal chimney. And yeah, they've got a couple plaques over here giving some information. But I can tell you, originally this tract of land going back to 1796 was owned by Fontaine Maury, the father of Matthew Fontaine Maury, the famous oceanographer that lived in downtown Fredericksburg, known as the Pathfinder of the Seas. And he was born further out in Spotsylvania. I did a video on the remains of his home. It's maybe 8-10 miles out, further out in the county. And over here giving some information. Oh, and I can also tell you, pretty interesting, before Cosmo owned the place, it was owned by Burwell Leavell. And that's where they got Leavell's Road. Kind of a popular road down there. Burwell Leavell had passed it on to his son named Edmund, and Edmund in 1858 sold it to Cosmo Gordon. So, and a little information on the building. They think the bricks were made here on the property. And yeah, there was a kitchen, of course, an outdoor kitchen, and they say there's still a laundry that still remains. I don't see one offhand, and maybe it's behind the building. Oh, and to tell you, Cosmo came up with the name LORIELLA. It's a combination of his first two children's first names. That would be George Lorimer and Ella Gordon. Some information, and like I say, grandfather Samuel Gordon over at Kenmore. He served in the Civil War. He was captured shortly after the Battle of Thornburg. Up in Maryland, Falling Waters, Maryland. He was imprisoned at Point Lookout, and then he was exchanged in April of 1864 and lived on this property for about 40 years until he died in 1891. And the family cemetery is kind of behind those trees a little ways back. Yeah, I'll just kind of take a walk around, look at the side of this thing. You'll see a second building behind it. So yeah, it's kind of got an interesting kind of H shape, I guess. That's just to show you the side. I'm not sure if all of that was original, maybe just the front portion. And to tell you, all of this was farmland. He had 23 horses, a handful of cows. He had an oxen. Disc golf area, a bunch of hiking trails, and here we are, Gordon Family Cemetery. And there's another Gordon Family Cemetery over by the Mayor Washington Memorial, downtown Fredericksburg, right near Kenmore. And family burying ground. So Cosmo's buried here with his wife and kids. His son George died of accidental burns at a state sanatorium in Staunton, Virginia. Daughter Ella, born 1855, died at age 11, cause of death not recorded. And his son Thomas Gordon, born 1859, he drowned in the Massaponax Creek, which is not too far from here, 1885. And this guy Lewis Owens, an invalid, charitably cared for by the Gordon family. He died. He's got an unmarked grave. And down here, as I was telling you, Kenmore, named Kenmore after their Scottish Gordon estate. Wrought iron fence. A couple of these are broken in half. And there's Cosmo. And you can see his broken half. They've got it braced up. And there's Thomas, the one that drowned. They've got his braced as well. Zoom in on Cosmo. I'm tempted to walk down that trail, but I don't have a map. I don't know how far it is or where it goes. A lot of disc golfing going on. Oh, I should tell you, we're at LORIELLA Park, a popular park here in Spotsylvania County. And like I say, the Gordons owned this property until 1979 when they gave it over to the county, and that's when this park was established. Another hiking trail over there. Yeah, and this is it. The remains of a former slave cemetery. And no, my title isn't clickbait. Supposedly Kunta Kinte was buried here. If you don't believe me, do a Google search on the burial site of Kunta Kinte. It'll tell you LORIELLA Park. And there's a 50% chance that he was a totally fictional character. But Alex Haley said it's based on his great-great-great-grandfather. And he said it's a half fictional, half non-fictional portrayal. And I'll tell you, he was a slave that lived further out in the county in an area called Partlow. His owner would have been a George Waller at the Waller Plantation, which is off Waller Road. And they think he was actually a slave named Hopping George. And over here talking about the 1850 census, that Burton Leavell, it's kind of funny, the other plaque said Burwell Leavell had owned 12 slaves, and then in 1860 Cosmo Gordon had owned 10 slaves. And it's just talking about back then when slaves were buried, there was either just a kind of small wooden cross that obviously would have disintegrated, or a stone placed as the headstone. And a couple paintings, circa 1864, Waiting for Dinner. Painting by William Aiken Walker depicting a working farm before slavery. And this is talking about a plantation burial where funerals were actually happy and jubilant events. And just kind of a wide open field. I'm sure that was nothing. Looks like these trees might have been planted together. Pretty interesting. And they're coming this way. That's it for the LORIELLA house and I guess the burial site of Kunta Kinte. And as always, like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and support me on Patreon. See ya.